What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what is really moving it and what shorts are doing. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is up a very impressive 8.27%, 411 the low, 449 the high, and a lot of volume. So 82.6 million shares being traded, 44.6 is the average. As far as today, there isn't anything coming out on a macro standpoint to justify today's push higher, nor is there any official news associated to NIO. No SEC filings or anything like that. Rather, what is gaining some momentum behind the scenes is NIO putting this out yesterday. So near the tail end of the day, they did put out a new variation of the ET9, which is set to come out later in 2025. And the ET9, the first time around, even despite the price point, is sold out within 12 hours. So there's a lot of good kind of high expectations associated to this, which is causing institutions to somewhat FOMO into NIO. So you can see on the secondary market and also dark pool, a lot of big transactions. So you can see these are all the dark pool ones on a side note, and then these are all the ones on the secondary market. So normally we've had very minimal, like maybe 2 on a day or maybe 3. Today so far we do have 5, again above $100,000, and majority of which are buys. So both hedge funds are buying on the dark pool and just regular smaller fish and institutions on the secondary market. So definitely good to see. I see a lot of people online saying that today is shorts, and so I wanted to give you guys a quick overview of that. So at the time of doing this video, surprisingly, shorts are increasing. 3.51 million shares, 12.3% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 189.8 million shares overall are being shorted. So in the past, this strategy that they do has worked. Every time NIO does really move higher, starts to break out, they double down, which kills the momentum. But because of NIO's recent update, and from yesterday about the ET9 variant, you do have a lot of institutions really buying NIO up. And plus, just on a larger standpoint, there's a lot of good momentum. So I think algorithmic trading is really working in NIO's favor. So things are looking pretty a-okay. So it's good to see shorts increasing, and hopefully that will result in a little bit of a squeeze. I know that's what a lot of people do really want. Short score on the side note is 83.16. Higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening. So let me know your viewpoint, and actually it looks like they just increased a little bit more, so now it's 3.64 million. But aside from that, moving over to the options, 6.92 million in calls, 1.8 in puts, and today you do see 51% of all the options being done are bullish in nature, and most of that actually was in the first little bit of the trading day. So good to see that there's a certain level of optimism for at least the next little bit. Bulls are anticipating for it to be roughly around that between $4.50 and $5 range by the end of this week. Next week, it looks like a very good consensus for it to be above $5. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub $4.50. So with us right now at $4.43, there is definitely a lot more upside than down. So again, sentiment is turning very positive. Aside from all of that though, with tomorrow being Friday, just take note of the open interest. So you have 35,000 at that 4, and then at the 450 also 30,000. So best case scenario, if NIO does close above 450, this is where you'll see a very positive gamma squeeze going into this upcoming week. Aside from that though, things are looking pretty a-okay on a technical standpoint. With it right now at 443, it is between this R3 and this R2, so in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks, it's definitely doing pretty good. 419 is a strong support, and then 445 is that next kind of key pivot, and if it is able to get above that, as I've shared with you in previous videos, then you could easily see that $5 range. So things are looking pretty good in my opinion. But as far as today, there isn't any new analyst ratings. So most likely I would anticipate, because of the recent update and momentum, a lot of analysts to kind of act as sheep, because to be fully fair, majority analysts don't really know what the hell they're talking about in most cases. So if a stock is starting to gain more and more momentum, they like to act like they called it, so they give ratings. So don't be surprised if you do see a lot more bullish ratings over the next couple of trading days, as analysts just piggyback off of NIO's good success, at least in the short term. So don't be surprised if that does happen. Aside from all that though, on the actual chart itself, things are looking pretty a-okay, as I've previously shared with you. So it is above all the key pivotal moving averages and everything else. So yeah, things are looking pretty a-okay as far as this. So I think just generally leading into the last couple trading days, it's been a very similar setup to what happened in 2024 when it did have a high of roughly around that $8 range. So don't be, again, surprised if you see just a continued nice push higher. And at one stage, I'm sure shorts will start to mitigate some of their risk and start to return. One thing as well I do see online is a lot of individuals assuming it will be a 2021 type of scenario where it's just going to go up. It could happen, but 2021 compared to now, different interest rates, there was a lot of capital getting into the broader market, whereas right now, as I've shared with you, there's a lot of money sitting on the sidelines in money markets. So I think just a different type of environment. It would be kick-ass if this does really happen, but to be fully fair, I don't really see that playing out, at least in the next little bit. So what's your viewpoint on NIO? Give yourself a shout out. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? Are you doing some covered calls? One thing to take note of though is if you do believe that NIO or any stock in general is going to continue to move higher, I would personally avoid doing covered calls, but you, at the end of the day, you do whatever floats your boat. I'm not here to get you to buy or sell. As I've shared with you, all I'm doing is interpreting the data, technicals, and everything else. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. Have you been buying? And so yeah, give yourself a shout out as far as that. One thing I do want to share with you though is pop over to my Patreon and give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Even yours truly, NIO, I did give it as a buy signal when it was roughly around that 350. And so yeah, hopefully you guys pop over there and take a look at that. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.